Since over the years your comic has been really well received, what do you think has been the most significant honor?
Well, the first one was when we were reviewed by Any Cool News.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's probably the biggest honor is Any Cool News.
I submitted it about a few weeks before we had our release, and we didn't know what to expect. I didn't even think we'd get a response, much less a much favorable review that we received from Ambush Bug, the reviewer on the site. And he not only gave us a good review for the story, he built up our artist, Brian Robinson, who actually lives in Clanton, Alabama. He compared him to Steve Ditko. So that was really a big boost for us. We'd gotten some looks, in the past over our art, the art of our story, and we believed in our artists all along, and we think they have their own vision of what the story should be, and we were behind them 100%, and it came out. Now, since then, we've received through State Representative Melissa Marquez from El Paso, we received a honorary recognition from the state of Texas in the House resolution. So that was quite an honor, and I don't know if there's of any other in this medium to receive it. So it's good for the comic book business as well. So
legitimizes that. It says that the state of Texas recognizes something like Spiralmind, then it legitimizes the fact that, hey, this is something that's not, it's not art in the sense where it's not going to hang on someone's wall.
It's not fine art, but it's
right. But it's still art in the sense because you're telling the story backed by wonderful pictures drawn by guys like Brian Robinson and Bill Fontaine, our cover artists.
And that's one thing about El Paso is they recognize fine art. They'll go a great length to showcase fine art. You can tell by the number of art exhibits there are around town. El Paso's finally starting to recognize comic books as a medium.
Not just El Paso, I think in general, the comic books are recognized as a true medium of art. As for the longest time, it was left in a corner somewhere. Just all right, it was for nerds and for kids. But you can't do that because these are wonderful stories. You can read the history of Batman, for instance, or Superman. Spiralmind. These are wonderful stories. Couple that with sequential art that is wonderfully drawn. You got to take that in consideration that people are reading this for a reason because they like it. So look at the Hollywood building making movies based on comic book characters.
So to be recognized by Any Cool News and by the state,
right.
Texas state representatives, it is quite an honor. So
and of course our UTEP,
our
alma mater. They've always recognized it with UTEP magazine, the Prospector. It's an honor for the school we graduated from to recognize that.
So what are your plans for EPCON?
Well, we're hoping to have issue 3 complete by then. If not, we're definitely going to have issue 1 in English and Spanish, issue 2 in English and Spanish, and just hoping to interact with everybody else in El Paso. I mean, when we started this, there's really nothing going on in the comic book world. I know there had been in the past. In 2003, though, there was nothing. Absolutely nobody was doing signings. Nobody was selling their comic books. We were looking for somebody to guide us, and there was absolutely nothing. So when we started, suddenly we started seeing rumblings and things starting to happen around Free Comic Book Day 2004, which we came out with our first primer with Joaquin Silva. And suddenly we started seeing a lot of stuff happening. Now, there was a lot of, I don't know what's, not a lot of talking amongst the different groups in town, and I see that starting to happen now, and I think it's a good thing because in order for El Paso to succeed in the comic books sense, graphic novel sense, we need to be able to get along with each other and help each other out because nobody's going to look at El Paso and pick somebody, who's got good art, who's got a good story or whatever. We need to be cohesive from the beginning, and then people start saying, hey, there's something going on in El Paso. Seattle, it wasn't just Nirvana when the music scene hit in the 90s. it was several bands that rose. If it was just Nirvana, no one would have remembered anything about it, you know. So, you know, hopefully something like this, EPCON, will open the eyes of comic book lovers everywhere, comic book aficionados, comic book people in the business will take notice, and that's what I'm hoping, that people from out of town come here and say, wow, El Paso can really do this. You know, they came together, they showed their what they're capable of, and they were a good host. So that's what I'm looking forward to, and meeting a lot of people that I haven't met before, getting inspired by other people's works, getting inspired by people from out of town. So that's really what I'm looking forward to. I'm actually looking forward more to that than the San Diego Comic-Con, which I was planning on attending. So.
Do you think it's more significant to receive recognition from the press or recognition from fans?
Oh, fans.
Yeah. Fans is the number one thing.
Because fans are going to come back and they want to learn about the character. They take the character and they care about the character. They're going to stick with you. They want to see what happens to this character, what kind of troubles does he go through. And they're rooting for the guy, because if they didn't root for the guy, they wouldn't have bought the kid. They wouldn't have bought the comic book.
I'll tell you a quick little story. On our last signing for issue 2, Dante's Inferno, we had a signing at Rebels Comic Vaults, and we had a decent turnout. It was free comic book day, so it was, you know, a lot of people were interested in our stuff, as well as the free comics that were getting passed out. So we were there the whole day, and then I finally started packing it up around 5 o'clock, way past when we were supposed to be there.
Yeah, I had already left.
Yeah, he'd already just left. I was just packing up some last minute stuff, buying some cheap comics that Mikey was selling. And as soon as I get in my car, I'm loaded up, I hear this banging on the window, and it scared me. And this girl was there, and she's like, "Oh, you're not leaving, are you?" I was like, "Yeah, what did you, were you looking for something?" I didn't think she wanted anything to do with me, so she's like, "Oh, I wanted to get Spiralmind." And so I went in there, signed a copy for her, sold her a T-shirt, and she, you know, she was happy as could be. I believe she's one of the roller girls in El Paso, so that's great to see someone. I'm a fan of what they do, you know, and it's just a coincidence that she's a fan of us, and she bought our comic online, which could be purchased at indieplanet.com or comexpress.com as well. So all of our books so far can be purchased online. So.
What are things about the convention are you looking forward to?
Collaborating, talking to different artists in town, different comic book artists, comic book writers. There's some people actually I'm really looking forward to talking to. There's some that I never really heard of, and I want to learn more about. I think I read about there's a young man at UTEP who's studying to be an engineer also, who has his own story. I'd like to talk to him and see what his story is about.
How he's bringing engineering into his character. Because that was our whole thing, is bringing our engineering background into the story, utilizing science and engineering with incorporating into his powers. And you know, that's something we're interested in talking to this guy about. And not to mention, you know, like I said, just representing El Paso in the best light possible, and showing that, you know, there are creative people here in El Paso, and as long as we can work together and collaborate, there's nothing that can stop us. So, and competing with the rest of the nation and the world in this medium.
In other words, we want to say that our stuff is just as good as the stuff that's out there nationwide. Not only that, we can compete. Just give us a chance. Let us put our product out there, and let the fans, let them judge.
Well, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
All right. This has been a fantastic interview. I says, be sure to check out Matthew Rothblatt and Benito Perez when they arrive at EPCON 2010, along with Phi-3 Studios and Spiralmind. Until then, we'll see you later.